Hello. Okay. So audio does work. Awesome. Hello, everyone. I know it's a weird hour. It's like 6 a.m. for me, as you could tell. I've just kind of felt like doing this. I haven't ever streamed Final Fantasy, and I honestly don't feel like it does have enough uh kind of like guide type streamers. Uh, there's people like Zeppla who play. uh, From what I've seen, a lot more is kind of chatting, but I don't really watch Zeppla. I do watch her guides on YouTube, of course. Sorry, I keep tabbing out. Uh, and I dropped. Okay, dropped something on my space key. Um, I don't have the best setup, as you could tell, for this. But I kind of wanted to give. I haven't seen many guides on this. Kind of wanted to give an idea to people on how to level up your grand company. Like what is this? Your squad, your squadron. Um, because honestly, it's grindy, it's tiresome, but it's pretty easy. Uh, if you don't mind just kind of grinding out the same dungeons over and over, if you don't mind that, then it's very easy. Uh, I also kind of just wanted to chat while playing the game since I was on it anyways. Um, trying to open up Twitch so I can just in case somebody joins chat. Um, I genuinely just I enjoy Final Fantasy a lot. It's one of my favorite games personally. Uh, one of my favorite games of all time. And I've always thought about being a content creator for it, but I've never done it. I've never tried. But let's see here. The best way, because you can level up your squadron in multiple ways. Low level, you're gonna go to the regiment board. You can increase through the training. There's comprehensive training that only does level. It literally just gives XP. But I'm currently training up my units to do the promotion mission because the last two ranks of your grand company, you don't have access to, like, you can't just spam fates and level up that way, you know? Because it's really easy to level up your grand company to begin with because you could just spam fates and kind of sit there. You could spam fates, use grand company seals, and just level up that way. But you have back to squadrons. Sorry, back to squadrons. You have your squadron attributes. This is the lowest level you can have them at. 280 is your max. Uh, I don't know if it's different every time. Let me show the squadron mission. This is the level 40 promotion mission. And as you can see, I've barely really leveled up This is my highest levels. I'm currently leveling up this level 29 Lancer. As you just standard play the game, uh, you'll get the ability to enlist new people. Uh, you get that ability. You can enlist new members. I am full on members right now, as you could tell. I'm full on members, but it's basically literally just through playing the game, doing quests, doing dungeons, anything can actually get you a new enlistment. So any content you're doing in the game, even PvP, which personally I've been enjoying lately. I've been playing a lot of Frontline. Not good at it. I'm not good at it, but it's fun to me. It's genuinely fun. It's stuff when you're in these content lulls where if you watch a lot of content creators for Final Fantasy, you've probably noticed a lot of people are quitting Final Fantasy at this point because they're either burnt out or they're not seeing where the game is going to go. Uh, I have kind of an idea of what's going to happen, but I'll leave that to myself. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I'm not doing high level content, none of that at the moment. I'm just kind of teaching you how to do your squadron. Just because I've, again, I've not seen a ton of stuff for it. But at first, you don't have command missions unlocked, by the way. You're not going to have command missions. As you level up your squadron through these trainee missions, up till once you get to like level 20, once you get to level 20, you basically have no other missions than training missions. Once you get to level 20, it unlocks your routine missions, which you could do. These take about, what, 16 hours or something? It takes actual real world time to go through these. Uh, just like it takes real world time to do a training course. Every training course is about, what, an hour? Yeah. It takes about an hour to do every training course. Uh, and besides the comprehensive training, you could train each of these attributes. Once you hit the max for your Grand Company level, then you kind of, it starts minusing other stats in order to compensate so you don't ever go over that 280 max for this level. Jesus, there's a flag in the way. But once you unlock command missions, it's a lot easier to level up your characters, your squadron. Here we go. That's the word. It's a lot easier to level up your squadron, honestly. Uh, and again, it's just grindy. It's just grindy. Um, it does cost company seals. It costs Grand Company seals. But you can infinitely do this. You can only train 3 times a day. And the missions, they take so long that it's extremely, like, it's inefficient to me. But again, I've not seen a lot of people have guides on how to do squadron stuff. I can't tell if this is lagging to you guys. I have a little bit of lag. Laptop heating up. Oh. It does seem to be lagging on stream a little bit. Quite a bit. I don't know what would cause that, personally. But it's Squadron is weird because if you're coming into the game now, you have after you beat a dungeon in the early game, you have dungeon or duty support. It's duty support. Um, and the NPCs kind of act independent. They just follow you around. Whoever you attack, they start attacking. Well, more like you go into a group of enemies. They attack whoever they feel like, and they only use single targets abilities. Just like these guys. They only use single target. But you in Squadron, you actually get to control who they attack. That's what this little engage button is for. It helps control who they attack. Unlike a duty support, squadrons are a bit more complicated. You don't, if you're not a healer, you actually don't have to worry about getting healed much. Most of the time, your healer will just automatically heal you at some point. Whenever your healer feels like it, really. Your healers don't get the second classes like Bard or Warrior. No, I think it's Marauder. No, it's Warrior. He's a Marauder. Yeah, either way. I forget I have every class, but I forget what the second class is. But in the squadron missions, command missions, you have a lot of this. You have this whole orders tab, and unlike in duty support, there's a bit of a problem when AOEs get involved, enemy AOEs. Again, it's really just laggy. It could be because I'm streaming it. It could just be my phone lagging. I'm watching my own stream on my phone, so I can watch chat. But in squadron missions, keep forgetting my point here. In squadron missions, there's a problem with AOEs in that the NPCs refuse to move unless you tell them to move. That's what the disengage button is for. It's just like the other NPCs. They have a problem with like AOEs. They stop attacking altogether and just avoid the AOE in duty support. In this, instead of avoiding the AOEs, if you press disengage, they directly follow you. The NPCs just straight follow. I didn't grab that because it's just a dungeon seedling. But the NPCs straight up follow you. They don't like physically dodge AoEs. They just sit in the middle of it, which I find kind of funny. That they just sit there. They straight up just eat AoEs for breakfast. It's extremely funny to me to watch them. Just gonna straight up go for this. Quick knock. They eat AoEs if you don't press disengage. If you do press disengage, they stop attacking altogether and just follow you until you press re-engage, which, weirdly enough, it lets them act independent. They still won't dodge AoEs, but they act more independently. Like if you press engage on one enemy, they will solely engage that enemy until it's dead, and then act independently, choosing an enemy to fight. I'm not hitting that second one. Uh, Again, this is the best way to level them up. In my experience, it's the fastest way. If you're just wanting to run through leveling up your squadron, it's the best way. Give it active XP for it rather than having to wait 18 hours for 1 or 2 levels at a time. You could level up multiple times in a day so long as you know how to get company seals. And that's why these are great. Because supply missions you can undertake. Okay, there we go. You can undertake a supply mission, and in that tab you can give like dungeon gear. You can just take dungeon gear you're not going to use or that's far too underleveled. You don't want it for glam. Like, a lot of the stuff I feel in this particular dungeon is just bad. It's not great even for glam because there's something else that you can get that works better. Maybe it's a higher level gear that just is dyeable. None of this is really dyeable. ARR content, am I right? Nothing really dyeable there. But there's just it's a lot easier in my opinion, a lot more efficient to span these dungeons. And I mean, if you're leveling a class, it's also good for that. Cuz it's not like it's terrible XP. It's kind of bad. Like 35k, I need 663k to level. But as you level them up, your squadron, as you level your squadron, you unlock access to more dungeons. As you saw, there's like Stone Vigil at level 41. There's a lot of dungeons. You can't do any extra dungeons. You can only do like dungeons you hit during the story. I can't. I don't know what the max level is for these guys. I'm wanting to say it's 60, but I could be wrong. I haven't looked it up personally. From my knowledge, I think level 50 is the last promotion quest anyways. So like once one of your it only takes one to unlock the promotion quest. Like the first one is unlocked at level 40. You unlock a promotion quest and they're able to take on a mission that's more difficult, quotes, more difficult. They're able to take on a mission that's more difficult that you can level up your grand company with. Because again, the last 2 ranks are actually locked behind squadron missions. I didn't know that for the longest time. I kind of jumped in here not thinking. I don't think this is a bad way to level up your DPS, especially once you get your squadron to a higher rank. You can just, like, I'd say about level 50 is when you could say, oh hey, yeah, especially if you don't like Palace of the Dead. I like Palace of the Dead. Uh, I've met actually somebody else recently who shared my thoughts on that. Like, honestly, I love Palace of the Dead. It gets boring when you're just spamming it, but there's so much content that you can do if you haven't done it. Even the older content is pretty fun. This, I wouldn't call this fun. I like mindless grinding. That's the word. I like mindless grinding. Um, but I know that's not for everybody. Uh, Mindless grinding is very taxing on people, um, and it can lead to burnout in the game. Uh, it can lead to burnout. Mindless grinding can. So I don't recommend this to a lot of people. But if you genuinely like enjoy that mindless grinding and you want to increase your grand company rank, this is like, in my opinion, the most efficient way to do that. And you always get that as soon as you complete training, you get a message on screen. So that'll happen in any area you're in. You could be over in like uh, the gold saucer doing leap of faith, and you'll get that message, and you'll be like, "Oh, okay. Now I know I can go back to my grand company, uh, and I can get everything from that training." Okay, so got. I hate when it gives me the same item over. After a mission, you do have to talk to this guy. You have to re-talk to him uh, in order to get your squadron XP. And then you have to, again, interact with the board in order to get the XP from training. I'm on my last training, but now I can actually show you the other training, the training stuff. You can do basic training, which, as you can see, it increases one skill by 40. And once you're max squadron attributes, it minuses the other two by 20. Uh, you use these attributes for squadron missions. The You use them for squadron missions. From what I've heard and read online, uh, the squadron missions, especially for uh, promoting, are really what's the word I'm looking for here? They're kind of harder. I think is what it was described as. They're just harder in that the stat requirements are very specific. Like you have to be above the stat lines for the required attributes, or at least equal with everybody in the team being level 40 for this one. They could be a little higher just so their attributes are even higher than the required attributes. But again, everything costs grand company seals. Um, and as they level up, they do improve in stats. Oh yeah, and the only way to get the okay, you've changed outfit. As they level up as well, your grand company. Once they get level 51, you can glamour them, but at like the higher level they get, they actually change outfits. So like for level 30, Lancer puts on the Darklight set, Giant Skull. He's got on the Werewolf set. He's a tank. From what I've seen, all the tanks put on the Warwolf set. Uh, I say that, but I actually only have Marauders as my tanks. I only have Marauders as tanks. So I can't actually say that in good conscience. But Marauders put on the Warwolf set. At level 40, it's about every 10 levels they swap. At level 40, he's wearing this Marauder. Has the Axe of Crags. You get that from Titan. You know. In the Divine War set. It's dungeon gear that you get from around about a level 40 dungeon. She has... I don't know where the Royals set comes from. I can't remember actually where that comes from. But Cane of Crags, you know. Then we have my Archer here, who's level 41, the Ballad, Corselet. Oh. Ballad, Corselet. Where are you getting these? I don't remember those. But since you're daily, you're gonna want to use all your training sessions. I think my stats are about right. I might change it later if my mental isn't high enough. I'll probably do another basic training another day. But right now, I'm just trying to level them. So comprehensive training. It might not level them all up at one time, but it gives them XP. Honestly, I think that's decent. It's a decent trade-off. But after every time you do that, you're going to want to take all of that useless gear and just give it to this guy. Like from Total Rock, you get... Honestly, it's not great gear. It's like level 24 gear. It only gives you 150 company seals. You quickly bleed company seals. But if you're leveling a DPS, I think this is a decent idea to level DPS between this and once you run out of company seals and you've gotten around about to level 50, I would suggest hitting stuff like, I wouldn't say Porta, but Snowcloak, stuff like that. Snowcloak and Keeper. Because every time you complete it, you get tomestones. Then you can, if you're an Ul'dah, you know, the Sundry Splendors is right over there, which you can get tomestone gear from, just the Ironworks gear. I only have these equipped for the stats at the moment. I haven't bothered swapping my glam back over. But you can get that tombstone gear and actually trade it back to your Grand Company for a decent amount of seals. Like if you haven't done your dailies, you just do all your dailies and then right afterwards you can just buy whatever you want with like if you do a lot of hunts as well, you'll get a lot of tomestones of poetic the poetics. You get a lot of poetics that way. If you do hunts, if you do your dailies, if you just dungeon in general, even like you hit a lot of the level 50, 60, 70 dungeons. You'll get that kind of stuff. You'll get the poetics that you can trade in for the higher level you can get Like, I can go all the way to, I don't know if Shadowbringers has... No, it's Endwalker now. I don't know if Endwalker has Tombstone gear yet, like Poetic gear yet. But I do know Shadowbringers does. Shadowbringers has Tombstone gear that you can trade for. Is it? It's Shadowbringer, right? I'm getting confused on which one is which, because they're both level 90 to me. Both Endwalker and Shadowbringer are what I call the level 90 expansions. I'm surprised they haven't increased the level cap a bit more by this point. But they might do that on the next expansion, 7.0. Which, again, I'm not wanting to spoil anything. Everybody else can kind of do that. You're a favorite content creator. I'll let them do that for you if you don't mind spoilers. I just genuinely enjoy the story. So I'm not going to spoil it for somebody else if they might want to enjoy it. Now, what I will say is a lot of Final Fantasy, what I would call enjoyers, like, they're extremely into Final Fantasy. A lot of them will... What's the word I'm looking for here? A lot of them don't support as much. I can't say a lot. Genuinely, I can't say a lot. There's a small minority of people who will flame you for buying like a story skip. I'm not one of those people. Like, I genuinely don't care if you buy a story skip so long as you're enjoying the game. And I honestly, if I kind of recommend buying a story skip for ARR. Sure, that gives you the basis for the rest of the story, but you can kind of just go to an in-room and go over the highlights of the story. You can go over the highlights of the story in the in-room, mostly the cutscenes, if you care that much. I personally feel like ARR is the content that keeps a lot of players from enjoying the game. I have several friends who I've tried getting into Final Fantasy who stopped on ARR. They didn't have the drive to go past that. Because honestly, ARR is the worst content in the game. It's not bad. I can't say it's bad. It's just not as fun as like late game content. And that's kind of the point, you know? The point is kind of that the ARR, and it's a very widely held consensus that ARR is the worst content. A ton of people who play Final Fantasy, they know that, and they say it. They'll just openly admit to it. And again, they won't say it's bad at all. It's just the worst that Final Fantasy has to offer. Which, it's... If your first content is your worst content, that's honestly... I think that's great. If the first content you ever released is widely held as your worst content. It'd be kind of bad if it was your best content. I'm not gonna lie. if your first ever expansion is what people compare, or not expansion, your first the base game of an MMO like this, if that is your best content, then there's not much your there's not much fidelity in your game, I feel, because people aren't gonna want to get to that later content. You do kind of have to constantly one up yourself. Uh, which I think is what Final Fantasy. I'm I'm genuinely interested in what Final Fantasy is gonna do next. Because of how the story has gone. Uh, it's not a spoiler to say that Endwalker wrapped up what 10 plus years of content. It wrapped up the story. Oh, hit caps lock. Uh, it wraps up the 10 years of story that 10 plus years that Final Fantasy 14 has been leading up to. And I think it's a good cap. It's a good just ending for that story. Um, and I'm genuinely interested to see what they want to do next with it. I hope they're not just like, oh hey, create your own story now. I want them to genuinely produce more things for us to do. More dungeons, more content. I'd honestly feel fine if they're like, okay, so in the meantime we're going to release new dungeons and stuff, but we're not going to do like a brand new expansion. I'd be fine with that for a while. I'd be fine with that kind of content where it's, oh, here's new raid content, here's new dungeons that you can just have fun with, here's new cosmetics, that kind of stuff. Because weirdly, while I am heavily into grinding out content, a lot of my data center, a lot of my world, uh, Siren, they're very much into what would it be? Glamour. Like glam is highly sought after. I wouldn't say sought after, you can find it everywhere, but that's what a lot of people on my server like to do. They sit in Limsa. Uh Limsa heavily lags, by the way. So I'm not in Limsa. Uh Most of them just sit in Limsa and dance, or they're just talking in Limsa. And honestly, if that's how they have fun in the game, more power to them. I'm not gonna stop them from that. That's your fun. And again, I feel that's kind of what caps off like Final Fantasy. You can make your own fun most of the time. Like if you just like, you know, let's say you were really into games like Harvest Moon. Uh, is Harvest Moon the one I'm thinking about? I think it's Harvest Moon. It's Animal Crossing or Harvest Moon. If you were really into games like that, they have content for you there in the Island Sanctuary. Actually, it's new content that they released. Uh, Newer, not necessarily new anymore, but it's newer content that they released. Uh, that's very reminiscent of that, in my opinion. It's mostly you're just going around collecting resources, uh, using IRL time to build buildings and improve your island slowly. Um, I do honestly hate the time gating on it. That's personally my least favorite thing about these types of games. It doesn't let you just kind of do the content itself. You have to wait. But it makes sense why you would have to wait. Uh, it makes sense, especially since it's an MMO and they don't want you to do all of the content at once and just be like, okay, well, now I have nothing to do. You know, I was only here for Island Sanctuary, and it's so much shorter than I thought it is. Because it does take a ton of time to do this kind of thing. Um, I am a writer for a video game. Uh, it's an indie studio. We've got small little game jam games. It's literally just me and one other person. So they're not terribly impressive, but most of the time it's we have our daily lives that we go through that I didn't even use my limit break. Um, we have our daily lives that we have to attend to. So we can't just put all that aside and be like, oh, hey, we put every ounce of our time into this game because we can't make money that way right now. We plan on even having our first big project for free. Uh, I'm not gonna divulge that right now. What the project is, what we're doing with it. Um, we are soon gonna be releasing info about it, but I'm not here to do that. I'm here to play Final Fantasy, honestly. Uh, but I know that takes time. That kind of stuff takes a lot of time to develop, even for a big studio like Square Enix. It takes a lot of time to produce that, and for the quality of stuff that you get in Final Fantasy, like I don't have it on the best settings, but it still looks very good. And like even the ARR stuff, some of it looks amazing. Like I genuinely still love the Ironworks gear set. Uh I don't wear it, but I still love the Ironworks gear set. It's great. Um I will say again, I'm just doing Squadron at the moment. Uh I'm probably going to play this for a little bit longer before I take a nap cuz I do have work today. I work very late hours. Um that's why I can get away with doing stuff like this early morning. But I genuinely I'm genuinely hopeful for the future of Final Fantasy. I want to I do want to see what they do. Oh yeah, I never explained this. Uh these are battle tactics. These kind of change the how each of your units kind of play. Uh the offensive as you level them up, they actually improve a lot. Um And I think it randomly levels up one of them occasionally as you do squad like command missions because they don't level up in squad missions. They don't level up in squadron. Uh they don't level up in squadron missions. They just level up in command missions. Um but as you can see, it does take a decent amount of time to level up, but if you're genuinely like trying to speed through squadron, this is how you're going to do it. I'm not bleeding as many company seals as I thought I would be. It really depends on your drop rates in the dungeon. Because if you're getting a lot of the same item over and over, like it kept giving me the Brigand's Action. I don't know how you'd pronounce it. It kept giving me that that piece of armor in one of my runs. I had like 3 chests that had it in it. And so that's 450 company seals that I couldn't get because each piece of armor in this dungeon is worth 150 company seals. So it bled me a little bit there. But I guess if you get every armor piece differently in this dungeon, then you can about break even. Oh wait, engage. You could about break even in company seals. So you're not really spending anything in these lower levels as much. So that's good. But I will recommend if you start to run out of company seals and you're trying to just level up like a DPS class. I'm less trying to level up my bard right now and more trying to level up my squadron because I really want to finish that squadron mission. I've been trying to do this for a couple days now, finish that squadron mission, but I've been a bit lazy. I can't. I actually can't say I'm being lazy when I'm writing for the game. But lazy in terms of playing Final Fantasy is what I mean to say. I've been more into my writing lately. But today I just like this morning I woke up really early and was like, you know what? I might as well play a little bit of Final Fantasy before I take a nap. Because I do genuinely want to. I do genuinely want to level this up. Sorry about that. I had to swap tabs for a moment. I wanted to level up my squadron for a long time, but I kept getting confused. I personally, playing this game for years, by the way, I even got confused because I'd never done squadron stuff. I didn't really care about my grand company for a while. And so by the time I had gotten to that, I was like, well, how do I do this? And so I saw some posts online about how to kind of go about leveling up your grand company, especially once I got stuck on the quote unquote highest you can get without doing squadron. Yeah, actually, not quote unquote. It's literally the highest level in the grand company you can get to without doing squadron. I think that's about the time you unlock squadron too, is when you can't level up without doing squadron missions and stuff. It's a slow process at the very beginning up until the point you get your like one member of your squadron up to level 20. But you'll need at least 3. You'll need at least 3 of them to be level 20. Yeah, I keep trying to open that. It's just a dungeon seedling. and I don't exactly need that right now. I do honestly think I might start streaming Final Fantasy more, as well as trying to stream Overwatch. I've been playing a little bit of Overwatch lately, um, mostly to improve in the game because my girlfriend in college is she's on an esports team for Overwatch 2. Um, and I want to, play with her. She doesn't really care about her rank that much, like in the game. She's just been busy with finals lately. Uh, so I haven't been able to play with her, so I've been playing a lot more Final Fantasy. But in the meantime, I have, in the meantime of playing Final Fantasy, I've been slowly ranking up in Overwatch, just improving as a tank. I'm always a tank main. I say that while I'm playing Bard. I'm a tank main in games. I have like my highest level classes. Uh, like the first classes I leveled up were tank. And I went through the entire story as a gunbreaker. Uh, I can't say entire story. Started out as paladin. Then I swapped to Dark Knight once I got to Heavensward, and swapped to Gunbreaker for Stormblood, and then continued to be a Gunbreaker for the rest of that time. They're over there. But yeah, I'm a tank main in all my games. Like every game I've ever played, I'm a tank main. When I used to play Paladins, I was a tank main up until the point where they broke tanks, but we're not here to talk about Paladins. I play tank in like everything that tank is a available class for. Like when I used to play Terra, I was a tank main. When I played, again, there's just so many games that I forget the name of. But Tankman. There we go. I've neglected all of my other classes. Like, hold on. Up until recently, I've been neglecting leveling up my classes. But before I stop playing just completely Final Fantasy, I want to quote unquote 100% the game. And while I was leveling up my Dragoon, I was taking the hard way about it. I didn't want to play Palace at the time. I didn't want to like spam Palace of the Dead constantly up until level 61, and then Heaven on High to level 80, and then Boja. I hard leveled up my Dragoon with level 50, 60, 70 dungeons. God, what is going on? There we go. I almost I nearly unplugged my mouse. But I had hard leveled my Dragoon, and I was allowing myself to do that because that gave me, like, waiting for DPS queues, gave me plenty of time to do every quest in A Realm Reborn and Heavensward. And by every quest, I mean I have done like every available quest. Uh, let me press journal just to show you. Completed quests. Side quests. I have done like every side quest in A Realm Reborn and Heavensward. This is side story quests, Lamensin quests, Gridanian quests, uh, Uldan quests, Korthin quests. I've done like every quest in A Realm Reborn and Stormblood, aside from job quests. Uh, I do plan on getting every class to level 90, including Disciple of Hand, Land. Um, I even want to. The reason I've really gotten into PvP lately is because uh, I've been trying to get the every set for the. Also, why I'm leveling up every quest, or not every quest, leveling up every quest, leveling up every class. I'm trying to get them all to level 60 at the moment. That's why you see that I don't have like as soon as I hit level 60 on a lot of these classes, I stopped playing them for a bit. Uh, and that's because I'm trying to get to level 60 so I can equip the Garo sets, the Makai gear, in order to complete the achievements for that. Uh, I've completed quite a bit of them. If you show all of the sets, you get the Makai Master title. I don't know when the Makai event ends. I haven't seen any word about it yet. Uh, and so I've actually been one of the ways I've used Final Fantasy to distract myself uh, is by doing PvP in order to get the Makai set because it's a set you can only get through wolf marks. You can get the Makai set through wolf marks, uh, and you can only get wolf marks by playing PvP. Like, I've been playing a lot of Frontline, stuff like that. Um, there are uh, a lot of Grand Company quests, no, achievements that have to deal with PvP areas because Grand Company, once you get late in game, I suppose, your Grand Company determines a lot of your PvP stuff. Um, I'm kind of waiting on doing my class quests at the moment. I'm stacking them up so I can do them all at one time. Not like all of them, but a lot of them at one time. Um, well, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to do mental, uh, another mental change to increase that more. Because my team only has one character that has a really high mental stat. She's carrying the team on mental. One that has a really high tactical stat, and then one that has a really high physical stat. Okay. But again, back to what I was saying. Uh, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of achievements that are based on PvP. A lot of stuff that's based on PvP. A lot of achievements based on PvP actions. Things you can only do in PvP. There's some really weird achievements. I've also been doing a bit of blue because of this recent event. And I might kind of give a guide on that for when another event like this comes out. It's the Hunt for Creations event. I've already done the Starlight Celebration event. Those little like, oh, it's based on holidays events. Those are really easy. They're normally 1 or 2 quests, and you kind of just get something out of it. Like, this time you get the Starlight Steed. It's a reindeer as a mount. That's the only reward for the Starlight Celebration this year. I remember before the Starlight Celebration, now I think they sell it in the shop, the choir set. I remember before that kind of stuff, you got like it's over here in my armoire. I'm gonna edit grill armor plates. Well, there's as you can tell, I do a lot of menial farming. Like when the yokai event came out, I finished the entire yokai event. I got every weapon. I have all of the minions for it, which you can't get the weapon unless you have the minions. This is the Garo gear as well. I do plan on throwing all of the stuff in there. Oh yeah, the Valentoine set. I'm not gonna. This is the Valentoine set. I've dyed it black. This used to be a Valentine's Day event thing. You used to only be able to get this at Valentine's Day, the Valentoine event. However, they've what's the word? It's a legacy event now. It is no longer available. You can't play it. And so those items from events they put in the shop. Retired event items go into the shop. That's where the Valentoine set comes from. The choir set also comes from that. I wouldn't buy these, personally. Like, seeing it in the shop, I wouldn't buy it. I don't buy a lot of things from the Mog Station. The only things I do buy are very specific and, like, I genuinely think are cool. Like, I bought SDS Finrer because I think that was an old event. And I didn't have that mount. I wanted a motorcycle. This was before this new motorcycle came out. Lucian Prince's jacket. Final Fantasy 15 crossover. That's an event item only. Amatsu Togi. Event item. The Bohemian's coat. This was an old event. It is now retired as well. For males, you got the Bohemian set. For females, you got the Lightning set. These are rewards you get for playing, like, just renewing your sub. Those are just sub rewards. Uh, but there's a ton of stuff that is event only. Like, oh, I didn't mean to press edit glamour plate. Uh, oh yeah, I was working on getting the White Knight set. The Lancer Dragoon, the Dragoon, fuck. I mean, darn. The Dragoon Mackay set. I've been trying to get that lately or recently. That's my most recent thing. I've already got the Mackay Gunbreaker set. It's called Mackay Vanguard. Uh, honestly, not gonna lie, the Vanguard glamour kind of nice. One of the things I did say I put in tags is chatting, because I do kind of go off on these weird tangents. I go off on just strange tangents like this. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but could be better. I could try to not do that. But I genuinely think, sometimes you need that. Sometimes you just need to go off on a tangent. 19 minutes left on that. Again, it is a little slow on leveling sometimes. It's a little slow on that. After that's over, they're actually level 32. And I'd be able to play Bravelock's Longstop. Again, as you could tell, it actually does only go up to level 60. As you could tell, none of the unlockable dungeons are available in command missions. You can only do those, I think, in duty support. If that, I don't even know if they're available in duty support. I could check. No, not really. Kind of. Kind of available in duty support. Not all of them are available. I think I saw St. Machium's Arbitorium. That's not a story dungeon, but still. It's very surprising to me that they don't allow those extra dungeons, but it just makes this grind a lot more tedious, because there's not a ton of different things you can do with squadrons. I don't. That's probably one of the things I dislike the most about squadrons. You can't do a lot of fun dungeons with it. I think they wanted to keep with the simple mechanic dungeons, things you'd only appear in the story. Which story content and dungeon content like this have casual players in mind. If you aren't like a hardcore raider, I'm not personally. This type of content is built for those types of players. The people that don't care as much to join a static and get yelled at because they missed one. They keep messing up on one very hard mechanic for them particularly because it's their first time ever joining a static, and they just wanted to play an ultimate raid or something, but one person who thinks they're the boss just wants to yell at them for no reason. Um, that's not everywhere, by the way. I'm gonna point that out. I don't want anybody to get a misconception of. I didn't mean to do that. I don't want anybody to get a misconception of what I mean there. That's not every static like that. There are memes in the Final Fantasy community where it's like, oh, you don't understand the anxiety of, having to tell your static that you have a doctor's appointment the day that you're gonna be, or around the time that you're gonna have to, do a raid, in that could they hold it off for, next week. Uh, there's a lot of memes about losing your static for stupid reasons. Everybody I've ever actually raided with, it's my FC, my free company. They're all really cool in the fact that I can just join up in a raid. They kind of do lessons and stuff on how to do a particular raid. First time runs for newbies. Everything like that. I do kind of want to use Twitch and maybe even YouTube to show people the majesty of some of this older content. Some stuff that it might actually interest more people than the hardcore raiding stuff, because there's a place for that. People enjoy that hardcore raiding aspect, but I haven't seen anybody just enjoying like Squadron. Enjoy dungeon running. Just enjoy this lower level content that a lot of people just tend to forget about. Stuff from ARR, stuff from Heavensward. I did see at one point Asmongold actually cleared. He got people more interested in coils. Final coil, the coils of Bahamut, which I genuinely like. I wanted to play, but I had actually joined the game around the time Stormblood released. That's when I had joined. I had heard about it when I was in high school, wanted to play it, didn't have a PC, so I couldn't play it. By the time I got a PC, Stormblood was coming out. So a bit behind. But as soon as I got the game, beat ARR rather quickly. I did pay attention to the whole story. I watched like every cutscene. Because I'm just a nerd. I really enjoy the writing of Final Fantasy, because it is a Final Fantasy game first, MMO second. There's a lot of the community that shares that sentiment. But I unlocked Final Coils of Bahamut and was sitting there like, I want to play this so bad. And so I queued for it. I looked at the queue time. This was as tank, which at the time, like, tanks were supposed to have instant queues. Nowadays, healers are the only ones with instant queues. But I signed up for Final Coil Bahamut, and at the time, I didn't have a ton of time for gaming, because I was working as well around that time, and my work wasn't as I couldn't just sit there and play a video game at work, while I can now at the moment. I won't be able to do that soon enough, but I can for the moment. But regardless, I signed up for Coil of Bahamut. I was so excited to play it. I was like, oh, I've played Final Fantasy games in the past. Bahamut is such a prominent figure in Final Fantasy. And I wanted to see how this game handled Bahamut. And when I went to sign up for it, I was shocked to see that the queue time was 45 minutes plus. But in the time, at the time, I was kind of like, oh, I have time. I'm able to play for, a couple hours today. And I knew the raid could probably take a bit. And so I sat there. Didn't realize the first Coil of Bahamut was a part 1 of 5. The first coil was a part 1 of 5, and 1 was 45 minutes. I waited the whole 45 minutes. I actually ended up, in total, waiting over 100-something minutes for the queue to then not be able to play the rest of the day. And that had made me really upset. I was really excited to play coils. So I was glad when Asmongold actually, again, it's not too long ago, it's the bad thing, that this happened. But I was glad that Asmon revitalized coils. Honestly. I was very glad to see that. I was glad to see somebody playing that older content, that stuff that you're not really going to be able to queue for anymore. Like, sure, you could put up a party finder, say, oh, first time, and someone's going to come in as a level 90 and run it for you. And as a level 90, you can breeze through it. That's kind of how I got the story of coils, was I came back and just soloed coils. Twintania, however, was hard. Twintania in coils. Still hard to this day, kind of. I can't do it solo. Like, I don't think it's soloable content very easily. There's very specific ways that I read that you could solo it. Very specific classes. That was actually around the time level 80 was max. So Stormblood content, not Stormblood. Yeah, Stormblood's the level 80 content. So around the end of Stormblood, I was running through coils, got stuck on Twintania for a bit. As I finally managed to eventually beat Twintania, to run through the rest of coils up to it's one of the final coils, or second coil. There's one boss that's like almost unsoloable. Um, and so that was really, I got stuck on that, gave up on coils for a bit till I got to level 90. Uh, and then around the time Asmongold was revitalizing coils, I was like, you know what? My party finders never filled up for coils. So I'm just gonna say, first time, first time clear bonus. I need help on coils. We're running it unsynced. Uh, and so I ran that with me and one other person in order to finish the final, finish the coils of Bahamut. That was honestly fun. I was excited to finally finish coils, something I had wanted to do for so long. Uh, Around that same time, I actually started doing like the raids. I had unlocked Void Ark, started playing Void Ark, went through Weeping City, and then Dunscape. Dunscape to this day is still probably the hardest. I still haven't done the Deltascape. Still haven't done that. Uh, I probably should. Um, but I actually finished Stormblood's raids. In order to do like I ran through Stormblood's raids in order to get to Boja because I was really excited about Boja. I wanted to play it so bad. Was played Boja, uh, finished Boja, not finished. I've still not finished Zadnor. I wanted to go through Boja in order to get the Law's Order set, one of my favorite sets in the game, because I always liked the Garlean armor, and it was the closest in game you could get to Garlean armor. Was that set, the Law's Order set, physically closest you would get to it. Um, but yeah, that was kind of like one of the things I feel like I want to show people that. I want to show people the older content that might be mostly forgotten now. That older content is genuinely cool and fun to me. And I want to share that with people. I don't want people to think that you can only really have fun with the newest, like the most new content. Like, oh, if you're not playing this brand new Savage or this brand new why am I zoomed in so much? This brand new uh content, the brand new Ultimate, still haven't actually done a single Ultimate, by the way. Just thought I'd point that out. Unreal, sorry. Like, I don't want people to think that that's the only content you can have fun with. Like, yeah, sure, that could be fun, but it could be really fun to play. Kind of like, I wouldn't say real fun. I would more like say, oh, it's the most intense. That's the word. Uh, I want people to genuinely kind of be reminded of some of this older content that you could still have fun with. And like PvP got a revitalization with Crystalline Conflict and the new PvP system. It got a revitalization for a bit, and it's still honestly pretty open. Like I could queue up right now for Frontline, and it would probably fill pretty quickly. Well, uh, of course, Frontline would fill quickly. It's part of the creation event right now. Um, Also, one of the reasons I have been really into PvP lately is because I don't quite have all the stuff out of the creation event yet, and I just wanted to get some of that stuff so I didn't have to farm trials. Uh, but you could go into a crystalline conflict match just casual and queue in 5 minutes, like if that. Uh, I just feel some of this older content. Sorry, my throat. Oh God. Uh, I genuinely feel like some of this older content uh is genuinely interesting. Like I might actually do some triple triad stuff. Uh Not quite as fun, but like it's a good little distraction if you're, you know, if you're just bored of doing the same thing over and over. You could do something extremely different, go play triple triad. It's a card game. Uh And I personally, I like triple triad occasionally. I've got a ton of the cards. I'm trying to collect all the cards so I can get the card mount. Have the full first page, easy to get on the first page. Uh, Most of the second page. Then there's the third page that's kind of empty. Fourth page mostly full. Fifth page, sixth page. Um, this is this is one of the things that is in the achievements that you can get. These are extra. You actually do not need to collect even a single one of these. God, my voice is going out. You don't actually have to collect a single one of these to get the card mount, the mount that is a card. Uh, that's all my training for the day. Should probably go through some of the achievements. If you've never taken time to do it, it's honestly interesting to kind of just look at stuff like this. Like, there's achievements for doing command missions. If you get 10, if you actually, it's not stated anywhere, by the way. If you get Dear Leader 1, which is completing 10 squadron missions, I think, is Dear Leader 1. You complete 10 squadron missions. You actually get the squat, push up, and sit up emotes. It's not labeled anywhere at all, but you can get those. Then there's things like the Mob Squad, where you can get uh, you get the Mob Squad achievement, stuff like that. Uh, of course, there's the battle achievements. It takes a long time. I haven't completed almost any of the hunting logs, although I could probably complete all of them by this point. There's stuff that's like, oh, complete these specific fates. Uh, there's just a ton of stuff that I think people genuinely just ignore. Uh, Once you get to like, uh, I think Shadowbringer is what started it. Uh, where you just have like a shared fate rank, and that increases how much the kind of things you can buy with bicolored gemstones. I haven't done any of that yet. Uh, I'm still not even mentor. I've played for several years. like a good 4 years, 4 or 5 years almost, is kind of the amount of time I've played Final Fantasy. That's the, that's like the time frame. Um, I've been in Palace. It's so hard to actually find a party. I've been trying to find a party to get to the 200th floor of Palace of the Dead. Um, I haven't done like, too much Heaven on High as well. Then there's, you know, going alone in Palace of the Dead and beating, floor 50. Floors 1 through 50, got to beat floors 1 through 50 alone. 100 to 101, the first floor to 100th floor uh, alone, and then first floor to 200th floor alone. You know? These are things that you get for that. I genuinely want to complete all of this. Uh, and I don't think it's necessarily the healthiest mindset, to want to complete all of this stuff. But I think it's a good goal. Like, I genuinely think more people should focus on this stuff. Like, they should look through the achievements and be like, oh, I've never heard of Triple Triad. What is that? Why do I keep getting these weird cards, Oh, what is this? Gilgamesh and Enkidu card. How did I get this? Triple Triad. What is that? You know? Some people I genuinely think have never played Triple Triad. Uh and then there's things like, just beating trials. Beating the raids multiple times. Uh Stuff like this is genuinely like I feel like people should pay more attention to. And maybe Square Enix should honestly do more with the achievement certificates. I I think that might give a reason for people to actually do all of these other than occasionally getting like a title a title or something. There's only so much stuff you can get from Oh, bless me. There's only so much stuff you can get from achievement certificates. Uh, and the fact there's only so many achievement certificates until new content is released is I understand that, but by this point I think they might not be able to because people who have done most of this stuff, they might have spent their achievement certificates on useless stuff, things that they might not need. Uh, which would make them have to do some type of rework on the system. But, I genuinely think they should do more with that. Then we have stuff like, the PvP stuff. I do have 2 more wins until I get this, which that's part of the Makai event. I've never actually finished that. But I feel like people should look at this kind of stuff a lot more. And I don't think a lot of people look at their achievement log and say, "Oh, you know, what do I want to do today?" Uh like I'm not going to say these crowns look great, but I almost never hear about people just getting these crowns and just being proud of it. Like, anytime I get one, I'm proud. I'm proud of these achievements. God. Sorry. I'm a little. Allergies are messing with me at the moment. But I'm always proud of these achievements. Every time I get, you know, an achievement, I'm genuinely proud of it. Uh, I still haven't even gotten that many commendations. Uh, sure, I haven't. I do have to take occasional longer hiatuses from the game, and it's not due to burnout. It's mostly because, oh, I'm dealing with some IRL stuff where paying a sub just isn't in my checkbook. You know, I'm not going to be able to pay that sub for now. That kind of stuff. Uh, I just don't think people give, you know, a ton of thought to a lot of this. Like, even the gold saucer, it's fun, you know, but I don't think people understand what all you can do in the gold saucer. Like, there's, chocobo races. Uh, chocobo races are honestly kind of fun, you know. You do have to play a bit, and there are guides on how to breed the perfect chocobo and stuff, which also an achievement, by the way. Uh, Also an achievement for helping, take care of somebody else's chocobo. Then there's like Verminion. The Verminion might not exactly be fun to everybody. It's really slow. It's based on, collecting minions. And if you don't have a ton of them, you know, you might not like be able to do certain things on it. And then we have like Mahjong. Uh, I'm not the biggest fan of Mahjong, but I still don't understand the game. I just put it on. I honestly just put it on auto and let it roll. In Mahjong, that's probably why I lose most of the time. But it's stuff like even just collecting orchestration rolls. Sure, a lot of the orchestration rolls are kind of annoying to collect in that you have to like continuously play the same dungeon over and over until it drops. That kind of stuff. Uh but I feel like a lot of these achievements can lead to some genuinely interesting like things that some people might not even realize they might enjoy. Uh I will say relic weapons, like all of the relic weapons and stuff, those are kind of annoying personally. Uh but like you can't really help that too much. They were kind of at the time made to be the top gear of that expansion, you know? It's the best gear of said expansion. That's what it's supposed to be. Uh right now it's the Manderville weapons. I have not unlocked any of those yet. You have to go through the Manderville quest line, which in and of itself, great quest line. It's a great quest line, and I feel like a lot of people should do it. It's funny. I love the Manderville quest line. It leads to some of the funniest battles as well, like Battle on the Big Bridge. That's one of the that's actually one of the ways that people are kind of spamming out the creation event. If you've never played the Manderville quest line, now would probably be the best time to go through it in order to, unlock Battle on the Big Bridge. In order to do that. And I also, I know it's probably not everybody's thing to just say, "Oh yeah, no, I'm going to go do every quest." Like I'm going to say uh that's a bit much for people. It's a bit much for people. Um I'm not recommending everybody go do that. That's just I'm insane, so I kind of enjoyed it. I'm still enjoying it, by the way, because you find some stuff that you might not realize. Uh, you find things that you might not exactly realize were a thing. Uh, like I found a cool, just eye patch. Essentially, it's a head wrap, but it covers your eyes. It's an eye bandage. There we go. There's a cool little eye bandage. And while people who sell these items might not like me to reveal this, but you can get a ton of great items by doing like your tribe quests. Like go through tribe quests, level them up. You can get a ton of cool items from them. Exploring even. Like I know it sounds annoying to do things like the sightseeing log, but the game is genuinely beautiful. So I don't think it's a bad idea to even go out and do this, Find the sightsee like go through your sightseeing log and go ahead and just do it. See what places you can find and be like, "Oh, wow." You know? You do have to do certain emotes on certain spots, but like they're genuinely interesting. Just seeing some of these spots, you're it it's beautiful. Uh, and of course, there's things like the Grand Company. Um, you can get these special like items. Like this is a shield. That's a shield. If you really like repping, you know, your Grand Company, there's full like Grand Company armor that you can get even. Rings, uh necklaces, earrings. There's a ton of stuff. A Mehmet, but you get the Mehmet pretty easily. Uh if you like the idea of hunting down really powerful monsters, your best bet might be to join a hunt train, you know? Because you can get some cool items from hunting as well. Uh, you get cool armor, cool items. That's a lot of times how you get the riding maps in certain areas. So you can increase how fast your mount goes. It's just I genuinely think a lot of people need to do some of this older content just to see what could be fun to them. Again, it's it's a bit of a chore, sure, just to say, "Oh, hey, throw me out of my comfort zone." But what if you're feeling like you might get burnt out, you know, take a break from what you usually do in the game. Uh take a break from that. Go try, play a little bit of PvP or go do a hunt or two. Maybe you're into card games. Try Triple Triad. You really like things like a point and click adventure game, but also kind of like League of Legends or what? I think it's more like Dota, but Verminion. There you go. Verminion. You want to earn some MGP? Go play you some chocobo races. Oh, excuse me. Uh Raise a chocobo or two, you know? Try to get that perfect pedigree chocobo. That's quite expensive. I think it requires quite a few Thavnarian onions. Those are hard to procure. But hey man, you have to if you genuinely love the game, you can find stuff like that. Sorry, I'm just sitting here. I'm about to sign off. But I genuinely think that's something, you know, people should find out for themselves. I I've kind of been it's a bit of a chore, but I've kind of been enjoying Squadron. Yeah, sure, I'm doing the same dungeons over and over, but I've been enjoying kind of managing their stats. Uh just doing different events in between. When I get tired of Squadron, I'll go do a run as Blue Mage uh with on Battle on the Big Bridge, you know? Um that's also another extra thing that's just honestly a lot more fun than you would think. Getting Blue Mage spells, playing as Blue Mage, going to the Masked Carnival, that's all really fun. Getting a group of people together through Party Finder to do different things as Blue Mage, like tons of different dungeons, because Blue Mage has its own special list of things to do as Blue Mage. The Blue Mage log. You can do it. You could do synced versions, but hold on.
Sorry about that. Got a call. Uh, but again, this is the kind of things like I feel like people should do more. Like I don't see only recently have I seen a ton of people trying out Blue Mage for the first time. I think this event really got people to play Blue Mage a lot more. Uh, it's just so interesting to me to see people trying out a class that I genuinely love. Uh, I hate that you can't play Blue Mage as, in a normal party, but it makes sense why you wouldn't be able to. Some of their spells are a bit broken, honestly. Uh, but I genuinely feel like this is something. This is something that people should do more. But either way, I've been sitting here rambling for a while now. Uh, I'm gonna be signing off. I'm gonna take a nap before I have to go to work. I might get back on later after 6 p.m. Uh, maybe even before then. Might not be playing Final Fantasy. Might be playing Overwatch. It depends. I might have friends with me on Overwatch. You never know. Uh, future's weird, you know? You never know what's gonna happen. So, I hope you all enjoyed this little rundown of how Squadron works, how you can level it up relatively quickly. Uh, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.